Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to jump to page 299, and we're going to take what we learned with an array, and what we're going to do now is we're going to load a text file into an array. All right, so we talked about the arrays. We understand how arrays are put in place. We understand how we can kind of go through arrays. And now what we're going to use is we're going to use a concept called linQ that basically allows us to take and go through and kind of loop through an array and basically spit out what's in that array. And so it's an easy way of doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the basics. And if you want to refer to a good example, it's going to be page 299, but I'm going to modify it a little bit just because, well, that's kind of who I am. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in your assignment. Remember what I said. You're going to load the files in the form load. Okay. So everything that we've done up until this point has been through a button or a function. And so now we're going to do it through the form. And all that is, guys, is just double clicking your form load. Your form. And I didn't name this form, so shame on me. Name your forms, guys. A lot of students lost points this week because they're not doing the naming convention of the form. All right, so in my form load, all that means is when the form is loading, this is what I want you to do, okay? So the first thing that I've done is I have taken my presidents file and I have loaded it into my array called presidents. And you're thinking, okay, well, how did I get that there? Okay, well, if I go here, now you guys are not going to be doing that, okay? Just so bear with me. I've just got to show you how it works first. Let me see if I can get to it this way. Open. Oh, maybe I can get to it here. Okay, sorry. Let's see. I say sorry a lot, way too much. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, let's see. Visual Basic, Visual Studio. I talk to myself too. Does anybody else talk to themselves? Okay, so this is sample 6. I think it's this one. Okay, so in this sample file, in the bin debug folder, I have a file called USPres. Notice that it is identical. Let me click on this. You will see all of these names. I'm not a president. I will be in a second though. Watch this. I'm going to make it happen. All right. So notice that it is .text. This is a .text. This is going to beat most of you up this week. When you are creating your file, if you need to create it as a .text file, you need to make sure that you're saving it as a .text file. It's looking for a file with that name. It better be there in that name, okay? So notice that it's in quotes. Remember what I said the last week and the week before? If it's in quotes, it sees it as text. If it's not in quotes, it sees it as what? Anybody remember? A command. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so there are ways that you can do this. If you don't want to type in the name every time in quotes to make sure you do it correctly every time. Oh, by the way, this is not the same thing. Do not do .text, okay? Because your file is not that. Your file is .txt. Listen, look at this. If I did dim name of file as string is equal to uspres.txt, I could do same thing. All right, notice that this is a command because it's referring back to this. I just want to show you guys that, all right? Okay, so on the load, what I want to do is I want to do a query, and I'm going to write it out, and then I'm going to tell you what I do, okay? I'm not going to do a where statement yet. Okay, so let me explain all this. Don't panic on me, okay? This is whatever you want to call it. It's your name of your query. So you could name it Deanna query or John query. Doesn't matter, right? But it's equal to, and this is the item that you're selecting. So pres, right? In this case, in presidents, this is referring to your array. This has to equal this. This has to equal this. This has to equal this. All right? And you're selecting your item. So from has to equal your select. You can have multiple selects, but in this case, you're not going to, so don't even worry about it, okay? You'll get to that next week, okay? So this for each is actually going to display it. So for each pres, so basically for each item that you find in the results of that query, you're going to add that item. That's all it's saying, guys, okay? So now if I run it, and I sit here and stare at it hard enough, it might actually do something. Okay, so notice that on the load, it went and it loaded everything. All right. Notice that? Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to sort that in I'll do it in descending order. You guys are going to have to do it in ascending order. Okay? Do you guys understand that load right there? All right, sweet. Oh, I'm going to get there. I promise. All right, so all I want to do, and you can reuse this query name if it's in a different sub, because remember, variables in a sub do not show. One sub cannot see another sub's variables unless it's declared outside of that sub. So in this case, you can leave this. And what I'm going to do is I am going to order it by I'm going to do it descending. Okay, you would just add descending there. Okay, so when I run it, I just want to show you in an easier way of Deanna, how to get the I need you guys to understand how to get it to load, how to run the query. Okay, so on the load, it gives me my presidents, right? So then when I hit the descend button, I don't see it descending, right? But when I scroll down, then I start noticing that that's when it descended. So what did I forget to do? I'm saying this and doing this on purpose. Because if you forget to do this in your assignment, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Does anybody realize what I forgot to do? This is, yep, you got to clear the list box first. Always, always, always clear the list box. Okay? So if you're using the for each method right here, before you run your query, you just want to clear the list box, and you'll clear both of them. Okay? So then when I run it, so anytime that you do your application, you're going to want to clear, and then you're going to want to run it. I'm talking because for some reason this is going really, really slow. Okay, so in my descend, notice that I cleared it, and now it's in descending order. Okay, and then let's see, those are the basics of that one. Let me make sure. I've already shown you how to do the count. Okay, one more thing. So now that's how you do the for each. So there's another method that you can find in here using the data source, where instead of doing the for each, you can also display like this. When you're saying that the list box has, you're setting the data source of the list box to that query. When you do that, you cannot clear this way. You have to clear in the sense of it's either all data source or all using the for. So you would clear like this. So I prefer the data source method. It's just kind of cleaner, but you can do whichever one you want. But I want to just show you because you'll see it in your book both ways. Okay? So that gets you, let me add a name. Let me add a name. So say in my descending order, I want to add a name to my presidents. I can use the append. I'm going to look for it in the book. You know what? I'm going to do that on the next one. I'm going to do another example. So this is the basics of how to load into an array, because you're going to use that read all lines. You're going to use that command in your assignment. And now I'm going to show you another application to kind of give you, like, put it together. So does anybody have any questions on how to use the len query to display what's in your text? Because you're going to do a lot of these. Like, you have to refresh your list boxes a lot. Like, I would actually put it in a sub, but you don't have to. Does anybody have any questions on this before I go to the next example, which will teach you how to, okay, awesome. There's no questions because I know you guys can't see the chat. So, all right, let me stop this video and then we'll go to the next one.